Hi, and welcome to Indian Weekenders Facebook Live once again. Where we are going to discuss the good and ugly side of Bollywood. We know that you all are getting minute to minute update of Bollywood by Indian media that how Bollywood is reacting after Sushant Singh Rajput's death. However, sitting in New Zealand, we can't bring you minute to minute coverage, but it is just a small effort to bring you our thoughts on this to discuss our main topic that has SSR case exposed Bollywood's dark underbelly? We have Aarti Bagdi, a film director who won the Filmfare of Kamakha and nine international film festival awards for Urnedo. Manish Tyagi, a famous stand-up comedian from India, who is also known as Naughty Commander. Third, Rupal Solanki, a very talented theatre artist in New Zealand. And Gaurav Gupta, who has more than a decade of experience in Bollywood and in media industry in India and NZ as well. Welcome everyone. How are you today?
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
So let's start with Manish. Manish, Sushant's death and Kangna's involvement have highlighted the facts, which is both good and ugly face of Bollywood. And the death of Sushant case exposed Bollywood's dark underbelly. How true these allegations are?
Well, so our information is also as as much as what media is presenting right now. And but the point is, what comes out to me, what comes out very clearly is that the number of people who are standing up for SSR seems to be a little little lesser than the people who are supporting the case. And I think that personally, I feel shows the factor which we keep talking about, the insider and the outsider, and the the terminology like nepotism, etc., etc., which comes out. So it gets clear. It gets clear in some extent that there are issues in which suddenly you realize the entire Bollywood stands up for which could be of which they think is of relevance to them, but something which you brings out a death which is suspected to be a homicide at this point in time, as shown in the media, and suddenly there are not many people standing up. So I think it shows that there is a deep divide between what whom they want to support and whom they don't want to support.
आपको क्या लगता है बीच में नेपोटिज्म आता है?
Yeah, nepotism. Yeah, it's very obvious. Otherwise, I would have been acting in movies by now.
Absolutely. Gary Gupta, what do you say about it?
Look, the fact is that both Sushant's case and Kangna's case,
Yeah.
one thing, I don't want to comment on individual case points because some of them are legal, some of them are very political now. But the whole issue that comes out is that does Bollywood has a two-face? People who are inside the Bollywood, people who have come from the families of Bollywood and the film industry, they see the good face of Bollywood. And there is a good face of Bollywood too, and maybe Aarti can elaborate more on that. She's also seen from close quarters, and with my experience of working there, when you are within the film family fraternity, you see a lot of support, you see a lot of goodness, you see a lot of bonhomie. However, what some other cases say that when you are not part of the film industry, like you've not been born into it, but you struggle and you rise up over the levels, definitely you do see a little bit of harshness as well. But I think that is something which is very natural, and that goes in every industry. So it's also not fair to pinpoint only Bollywood having that. So if you have someone who's new to IT sector, or even health sector, or any other sector for that matter, the struggle is always there. So it's not that people outside Bollywood don't struggle. So I wouldn't say that it's fair to just pinpoint Bollywood. Obviously, it gets all the attention because all the famous people are there. But yes, there definitely exists some kind of differentiation between what the insiders, how they get affected, and how people outside they obviously have to struggle a bit more. Maybe Aarti would be able to elaborate more on that.
आरती क्या बोलना चाहोगे आप इस बारे में?
Uh, so my journey, first of all, I would not like to call it Bollywood. I would like to say Indian film industry. So my journey in the Indian film industry has been interesting. That I got a very secure and comforting start with Rajshri Productions, which was like a family, which actually treated you like family, and which where actually I understood the whole aspect of film business, and so it was really they're really good people. Then I got even more fortunate with Mr. Ghai at Mukta Arts, where again I got to learn a lot from the family, learn a lot from the institution, learn. So in terms of for me, it was I got to learn and understand and observe a lot from the people who were already working in the industry. So it was so you have to give it to them that they are there before you, and you have to seek something. You've entered the industry, you have to seek, you have to play it out. You're not going to learn things overnight. Everything's not going to be fast and furious, right? You have to go with the pace. It's going to take as much time. If there's a child who's born in a film family, he's been born in that surrounding for 18 years, and then he's coming into the market. You are entering at the age of 18, so obviously you're going to take that much more time to make a mark, right? So thoda utna to logic you have to have if you want to
लॉजिक
get
में
there
ये
with
भी तो हो
old.
सकता है आरती कि यू आर बीइंग लकी. ये भी तो हो सकता है
No,
कि आप लकी थे.
lucky, yeah, there is
Yeah.
some amount of luck, but then you have to continue, you have to be persevering also towards it. So I will say luck was not on my side from the years of 2008 to 2012, where two of my feature films that were supposed to take off with Rajshri only didn't take off. So I it put me on a complete back foot. It put me like on a, and it was not because of the production house. It was just the world markets were in such a scenario that none of the films that we were planning were set out to be like very ambitious films. So I had
Right.
to take like a rethink about what I wanted to do. So I ended up doing some work in the Japanese film industry because my husband was posted in Japan. Then I came back to India. I was doing a bit of advertising. You keep exploring and you keep opening up your avenues. Then you come back to what you want to do, which is feature films, and then you end up making short films, and one of them ends up going to win a film fair. So and then hopefully it will open doors for me to actually make my feature. So it is a struggle. I'm not denying it's a struggle. If I was possibly uh, uh, a film family's daughter, or if I was possibly my husband was a filmmaker, or my husband was a big shot producer, it would have been slightly easier for me. I'm not denying that. But then when the time has to come, it will come, and I will end up making what I have to make. I'm continuing to make what I want to make. So that's good.
Thank you. Rupal, do you agree with Aarti?
Well, what Gaurav ji said and Aarti ji said, I just want to say one thing. Like Indians, India, we look up to two things, that is cricket and Bollywood, and these two things inspire the new generation, the youth, even the kids, you know. And when we talk about Sushant Singh, or when we talk about Bollywood or the film industry, we look up to them as their characters or whatever they endorse, and we live a lifestyle, we try to copy their lifestyles, right? So Sushant Singh's thing, whatever has happened, whatever the controversy is, even if we take it as a human being कि किसी इंसान के साथ ऐसा हुआ है, तो उसके घर वाले, उसके extended family, they all will get together to get this solved or to get answers. Or that way I see कि Sushant's immediate family and the film industry family, जहाँ पे वो अपना ज्यादा समय बिताते थे, where he used to spend so much time with so many people, I was very surprised to see why everyone is not asking for answers. Why everyone, why the extended family of film industry, the senior artists, and why is everyone not, मुझे लगा कि सबकी रातों की नींद इससे उड़ गई होगी कि हमारे घर का लड़का उसके साथ ऐसा हुआ है. So I just think it is very and as Aarti ji said that she has gone through a few struggles as well. I agree, there are struggles in any field, there are struggles, everyone goes through it, everyone has to carry their own cross, and some are heavy, some are not. But the moral of the story, or what we are all taught even today, is equality, to help each other, to look after each other. So when something like this comes up, that's what we see. Uski struggle bhul jao. He was already a star, I think. Uska struggle period khatam ho chuka tha.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He
Correct.
was already a star. He was already doing well. He did not have any godfather to look after him. So उसके बाद जब हुआ है, he was not a struggling artist. Now this happened.
Yeah.
So I'm quite surprised that why not taking it as हमारे घर का बच्चा, like, you know. And that's what.
Rupal, in fact, Ravina Tandon also took Twitter to share her thoughts. Said she has been made fun of, removed from movies by heroes and their girlfriends. Mean girl gang of the industry camps do exist. What do you think? Is it okay to call Sonam Kapoor, Swara Bhaskar, Kareena Kapoor Khan mean girls?
See, now, to be honest, nowadays the feminist has become a more powerful than the normal ladies, and I'm not from one of those very feminist person, because I
Mhm.
agree when girls do this to each other. I don't think it's right, and when these people get the platform, they have the platform like Instagram, Twitter, they have followers, so they use it. And I don't think that is right. And as I have not read Ravina Tandon's, but as she said, she must have gone through that struggle of hers. But again, coming back to this scenario, ये struggle के परे चला गया है, he's lost his life, ये चला गया है, so it should be much more than that. And all the women should understand that part, that वो when they think about girlfriend के साथ ऐसा कर रहे हो, तो why don't they think कि किसी का भाई था ये, इसकी कोई बहन थी,
Absolutely.
माँ थी, they're all women as well, right? So that's what, it's a very hypocritical thing when these women start talking and take sides and things like that. They can just say कि जो भी हुआ है, let's find out the answers. Why take sides? Why take sides with?
In fact, Sonam expressed solidarity with Ria, who has been arrested on drug-related charges in the ongoing investigation into Sushant Singh Rajput's death. She has been charged with procuring and paying for marijuana, which Sushant reportedly smoked. और उसके बाद भी जो बॉलीवुड बाहर आया है सिर्फ रिया के सपोर्ट में आया है, तो मनीषी कहीं आपको ये नहीं लगता कि दे आर बीइंग वेरी बायस्ड?
Two things before I answer this question. One is about Gary saying that anybody who gets into an IT or healthcare industry also has to struggle. Now, that there is a slight difference in the struggle in the film industry and in IT and healthcare industry, because in an IT and healthcare industry, if you don't like your company or you don't get along with people, you can move into another organization.
Yeah.
Film industry and entertainment industry is it's like a chakravyuh, like, and you get sucked into it.
Yeah.
And once you're sucked into it, like even Sushant's case, like people say that he dropped from his third year of engineering. He was a brilliant guy and he wanted to pursue acting and he got sucked into it. So this is a line of work in which you get sucked into and then there is no way out from it. Like it's a sad part that, and then like Aarti brought out that in your struggle days, you learned a lot. See, we all have, I was in the Navy and we learn from our superiors and seniors. The question is, some of us learn good things from seniors and some of us learn the other side of, there are two ladders to success. One is a very quick one. And I am sure there's a saying which somebody told me long back, that how does a fly cross the desert? If it tries to fly on its own, it'll just fall down after a few hours of flying. So the best way is to sit on a horse's tail and just go along, and you'll cross the desert immediately. You don't have to worry about
Yeah.
So I think film industry does have, because of the kind of fan following, like Rupal brought out, the kind of fan following, the kind of, now TikTok is banned, of course, but otherwise on Instagram, the following they have, everybody thinks that this is the shortest way ahead, the shortest route to success. And to stick with a coterie or a gang of people and just be a part of them would make them, reach heights much faster than somebody who's an outsider.
Yeah.
All right. So this will always remain. But the question is, like you rightly brought out, Rubal brought out, there's somebody who's a very young, talented, amazing artist has lost his life. And under very, very mysterious circumstances, which we are nobody, like you, Gary brought out, is a legal thing. We are nobody to comment how it happened. I don't know how it happened, but somebody lost his life and under very mysterious circumstances. I think that needs support at this point in time from the entire industry.
जो कि बॉलीवुड ने नहीं दिया. बॉलीवुड ने सपोर्ट तब नहीं दिया जब सुशांत सिंह राजपूत की, हाँ, जब डेथ की खबर आई तो कुछ नहीं था, लेकिन जैसे ही रिया चक्रवर्ती की इन्वॉल्वमेंट सामने आई तो सारे के सारे खड़े हो गए.
So what does it mean? Does it mean that there was this MLA, Mr. Manjeet, who I think brought out a video long back which showed a lot of film stars sitting in a room which was supposed to be, I don't know what is the truth, but he said that they were doing drugs and which involved the biggest of the artists. I don't know, you guys would have seen that video online, which is there being played on TV.
I don't agree with the fact that the industry came out fully in India. There is some amount of polarization over there also, in terms of if there was an entire section that was supporting and there was an entire section that was actually supporting only for the truth. So I think there the industry is quite clear. Like I personally don't have a say or a stand on all this because this is too legal and too political. So it would not be fair for me to comment my own personal opinion on this. But I would say that
But
there was
आरती आई वांट टू इंटरप्ट इन दैट कि टू लीगल टू पॉलिटिकल एक अलग साइड है, वो बाद में हुआ है टू लीगल टू पॉलिटिकल। जो स्टार्टिंग में तब लोग क्यों नहीं सामने आए कि जब सुशांत
the
सिंह
reason
राजपूत को
I can say one thing. The reason why they came out in support of Riya was the way she was treated.
Yeah.
That was their concern. The way she was being,
Vilified,
mauled,
yeah.
the way she was throwed upon. That was the only reason that you saw so much of this coming out, or in her support.
Yeah.
A similar thing would have happened to a man or an actor or anything like that, be it a big name. Nobody would dare to touch the person or come the way the actor was forged around that entire section. So that was one of the reasons. So they actually stood up for a decent cause,
Yeah.
but it was misintentioned. The whole thing should have just been that, listen, treat her fairly.
Yeah, treat her
That
fairly. Yeah, yeah.
No,
went
but
wrong.
At the end of the
But-
day, we have to now, so many months have passed in that case. One thing that has come out and has come out very clearly, there has still been no evidence found connecting Riya or anything to, first of all, it has not been established whether it was a murder or suicide. Number one. No, why?
आप
It
खुद
can be a suicide. No, no, because CBI has done whatever 60 days of investigation.
तो सुसाइड तो
Where
नहीं है ना, ये तो बात मानते हो आप, सुसाइड तो
ED is
नहीं है,
also involved.
सुसाइड तो
No,
नहीं है,
but
ये बात तो
नहीं,
मानते हो।
how
एक
can
सुप्रीम
that
कोर्ट
is
ने
not
How are
established.
we to say
सुप्रीम
that?
can
कोर्ट
we
ने
decide?
We can't say that.
भाई
It's still not out.
सुप्रीम
Even the
कोर्ट ने
police is
अगर
not
वो केस आगे दिया है, पुलिस की तो बात ही अलग है, मुंबई पुलिस तो खैर उसकी बात ही अलग है, उसकी
No,
बात ही
then
नहीं हम
who
करें,
do you
मुंबई पुलिस को
trust? If you
बेच नहीं
don't
जाते,
trust police,
बट
if you don't trust CBI, you don't trust ED,
we trust
then who do
CBI
you trust?
तभी
You
तो
trust
we
Arnab
trust
Goswami?
we trust CBI, we trust Supreme Court, we trust NCP, but we can't trust Mumbai police. What do you say, Rupal?
Okay. No, look, that's not the point. The point is, whatever agencies have investigated, till now the fact remains, we don't know if it was a murder or suicide. That question is still there. We cannot
We don't
assume
know. I
it
agree,
was a
we
murder.
don't know. But जो
Right.
facts आप देख रहे हैं, how things are falling in place. उसका जो laptops लेके गए थे, she has agreed she was giving drugs. This morning ही आया है, she agreed. Her brother was involved. So where is all this leading? At least
I just feel that this is gonna go the who killed Arushi way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Exactly.
eventually
It's
it'll
a
be
who done it case. It's a
Yeah,
whodunit case.
so for me, my thing is the truth is never going to come out. Okay,
no, not
whether
anymore.
it was suicide,
Yeah.
whether he committed, it was that's
Yeah.
never going to come out. So we are just going to continuously keep debating this.
Yeah.
And trust me, the truth is going to lie the way it lies, as you said, for the Arushi Talwar.
I have a question to Gaurav. After Riya Chakrabarty's arrest, from Kareena Kapoor Khan to Sonam Kapoor Khan, Anurag Kashyap to Vidya Balan, Swara Bhaskar to Huma Qureshi, Shweta Bachchan, Abhay Dil, Taapsee Pannu, Malaika Arora, and more, these stars are now extending their support to Riya and tweeted #Roses are red, violets are blue, let's smash the
Yeah,
patriarchy.
patriarchy.
Do you think that they should have supported Kangana too?
See, first of all, let's first analyze why are they supporting Riya. Okay, first we have to get that very clear. The reason they that which I think is they're supporting, and the reason which is very logical to support Riya is that right now she has been arrested only on charges of drug trafficking, which can be some kind of recreational drugs also. It's not like she was putting drugs in his milk bottle, and Sushant was a 5-year-old child, and she was feeding drugs in the milk to Sushant, right? So Sushant was an adult. He was having drugs on his own will. And yes, she was part of maybe that whole operation. And so she has been indicted and arrested. But the fact of the matter remains that all this became into limelight only because media was hounding her to get arrested. And look what happened after the arrest. Okay, I'm okay, you arrest her if she's done something wrong. But then now what happens to the investigation? The media is totally silent about the investigation about Rajput now. Just see the head. It is just not a story. So which means it was just a whole thing to get her arrested. The case doesn't, even Sushant has not got justice even now. That's the whole point. Even just putting
बात तो बॉलीवुड की हो रही है. बॉलीवुड ने जब पेट्रियार्की वाला अपना हैशटैग रोजेस आर रेड वॉलेट्स आर ब्लू वाला जब
and
अपना
I'm coming
अपना
to
एक
Kangna also.
चलाया
Yeah,
ट्रेंड,
I'll come to
तो कन्ना
Kangna
के बारे
also.
में क्यों नहीं चलाया?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
So
but
the
Gary,
reason,
quickly, Gary, just one thing I can say. Can I just quickly? So even if I'm in stand-up comedy and I know guys who do recreational drugs, okay. So we know that why entertainment industry today, the youth itself is, and there is a big thing about why India is not legalizing marijuana, although bhang is being taken in Hardwar by tons, and so we do that stuff. So is there a possibility that if I have taken even 1 gram of marijuana from, let's say, when I came to New Zealand from Gary, and tomorrow Gary is being implicated, I'll be standing up for Gary and saying,
yeah,
"Yaar, mera naam mat batana, I stand by you." You know what I mean to say? Is there a possibility that all these people would have at some point? I'm not
yeah,
saying, I don't know. I'm just saying from a human aspect and a behavioral aspect that if I have ever been a part of that gang which has done weed or whatever, marijuana or whatever, and then suddenly I'm like, yaar, ye pakda gaya to bhai ab.
I would like to say something on that. The same thing, like the culture of drugs and all these recreational drugs, whatever. It's not old. Maybe it came out now.
Yes,
We all knew to
it's always been there.
की बड़ी बड़ी बातें होता होगा. That's fine. It doesn't affect us. But the thing is, when this something like this has happened, for example, जब संजय दत्त का था,
Yeah.
तब तो इतना किसी ने नहीं किया कि सपोर्ट ये वो. उड़ता पंजाब मूवी,
Twitter नहीं था ना उस वक्त,
हाँ,
internet
so,
नहीं था.
and about it was about Punjab. All of them were like वाहवाही कर रहे थे. वाह, this
हाँ.
should be done. ये तो drugs तो बहुत खराब चीज है. So now why are they not talking about drugs? Or when the drugs things came
Yeah.
out, रिया जैसे आप गैरी जी ने बताया कि उसको पकड़ लिया है, they don't have any proofs or anything, but then thinking about that, धुआं वहीं से उठता है ना जहाँ आग लगी होती है. Why Riya only? Why not anybody else? So there is something with Riya. She must have done something, supplied, given, whatever. As a girlfriend, I think, speaking as a girlfriend, she could have said that no, stop it, you shouldn't be doing this. Why is there nothing coming up like मैंने ना बोला था, we were trying to stop it, or his brother himself was supplying it, so things like this are just calculating and summing up that she is a big hand in whatever has happened. And again, talking about Bollywood, when they had spoken about Urta Punjab and during Filmfare Awards, they said Shahid Kapoor has done a great job and opened the eyes of the world that this is happening in Punjab and it should be stopped. So now jab nikal raha hai, so why are these Bollywood so called people are like, especially abhi jo sansad mein आंटी जी ने बोला है, so why are they so worried about it? Why are they talking against it? They should be like,
Exactly. Ravi Kishan said
No,
there
but
was a problem
you
of drug
need to
addiction in the film
understand,
industry.
if you think that the Indian film industry is constantly consuming drugs and partying and if things like that are happening, you really think they'll be able to you camera is the first thing that catches, okay? Camera is like the biggest revealer of truth.
yeah,
So you think all that will be they have very clean, they have very clean methods, clean systems. Actors can't afford to do all this these days.
No,
In the
Aarti,
80s,
can I
90s,
interrupt on
still
this one?
actors could lead such lives.
yeah.
Yes, Manish
Can
ji,
I
बोलिए.
interrupt on this? I was reading up about, so when you watch Hollywood movies, Robert Downey Jr. was one of those guys who was a drug addict from the age of 8. He went to jail and so many things happened. The point is, when we used the word hypocrisy somewhere, I think not comparing the culture with the Western or the Indian culture, but I think they in the Hollywood industry, people are very open about that. Yes, they've done drugs, they've gone to rehab, and they've got all right and come back. Okay, and then they support or don't support a cause. हमारे यहाँ everything is hidden under a veil of
Yeah.
hypocrisy. कोई बताना नहीं चाहता है, कोई accept नहीं करना चाहता है. इसीलिए, like I said, कि maybe there is a possibility at that some point. So Riya, like I feel Rupal said that it's just very unfortunate that SSR passed away, and that's how Riya came into light. Otherwise, nobody probably knew Riya Chakraborty
Yeah.
also. I didn't know her.
Yeah.
No, none of
I
us.
didn't
No,
know.
yeah, you are in the film
Yeah,
industry.
no
You
one
didn't know
knew
her.
her, yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so now that she is, यार देखो वही कहावत है कि जो पकड़ा गया वो चोर. बहुत सिंपल सी कहावत है
Very
legally.
very
So today she is in the storm of the eye of the storm, like in the sense of because her boyfriend,
yes,
passed away, whatever the circumstances are, and she's the one which has become suddenly so
and
I say this in the part of the world I live in Ghaziabad is that the cops also have to catch some people to show that they're doing something. So
correct.
they've got to catch one
Yeah,
person,
yeah,
they will
Jesus
now
become a
beat
scapegoat.
yeah.
a
Scapegoat.
scapegoat to a large extent.
Scapegoat, you know,
Yeah.
Recreational drugs might be happening. Nobody's
Yeah,
saying
Yeah.
everybody would have done it.
And
It's
I
like
agree. Yeah, I actually agree what Gaurav ji said that SSR के murder case का कुछ development news नहीं आ रहा है. It's all about rewrites.
it's all
Now,
died
Correct.
because it doesn't matter anymore. You know,
डेवलपमेंट न्यूज
Yeah.
आ रहा है, लेकिन बात वही है, हम वही देखना चाहते हैं, देखते हैं जो हम देखना चाहते हैं. डेवलपमेंट न्यूज है, हर जगह है. अच्छा, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट drugs involvement in Bollywood. Ravi
no,
Kishan
just
said
one
there
second
was a
before we
problem
move.
of drug addiction in the film industry. In reply to that, Jaya Bachchan said in the parliament, जिस थाली में खाते हैं उसमें छेद करते हैं. Do you agree with her comment?
No, hello, but she did not say that to a drug statement. You're
Yeah.
putting that out of context right now.
Yeah.
No,
She
she's
has said no. She has said that people, if you're, it is to struggle. It is to like finding a place in the industry.
this
It is
is
to people
this
getting
is when she
welcomed in the
said,
industry.
when Ravi Kishan spoke
It is
about
not
it,
to do with
then
drugs.
only she
Okay,
came
she
into
will.
the
Why will
parliament.
she promote drugs?
शी
Yeah.
सेड जिस
Go
थाली
ahead,
में
but
खाते हैं उस थाली में छेद करते हैं. जब रवि किशन ने ये बात बोली, ये स्टेटमेंट दी कि ड्रग्स को बॉलीवुड से हटाना है, तब उसके बाद ये तो जया बच्चन
Then
सामने
she
आई
said,
है, उससे
yeah,
पहले
yeah.
क्यों नहीं आई? एग्जैक्टली.
Because he the way what she has possibly said, what her intention for that statement, I'm not supporting anyone here, I'm just saying her intention for that statement is that do not defame the industry, do not make people believe that the industry is a bad place.
yeah,
But I know so many people who are making up minds now, young minds now, who are thinking, Arey, what is the point of entering the industry? It's such a struggle. Like these kind of reactions
yeah,
must be going on. Such good,
correct.
if there is good talent out there who possibly wants to enter in the industry, won't now, because
Yes,
if you are constantly giving the portrayal of drugs,
yes,
like suddenly if you make doctors feel it's the most, doctors in India, the rate of doctors entering education went down so much because there was in the early 2000s to 2007, there was so much of ill will against doctors that people stopped actually going for medical, because everybody was like capitation fee to sab lete hain medical schools mein. Who's a real doctor? Nobody is a doctor by what knowledge that they are or how smart or how intelligent they are. So ऐसा फिर आप ऐसा एक पेंट करोगे इंडस्ट्री को, तो कौन आएगा सामने से जो इतना
yes,
अच्छा टैलेंटेड बंदा है?
I would
अगर
like
कोई
लेकिन
to
वो
enter
तो
भी
सब
करना
लोगों
चाहता
को दिख रहा है ना.
now things are
Wait,
much better.
but
Earlier,
Aarti,
just imagine, earlier in the 50s and 60s and 70s, there was only one medium, it was the cinema. Right now, there is so much content and so many mediums all over that if good talent wants to come forward, they won't be able to come forward if you paint such a picture.
yeah,
We cannot afford, we have to
but
make
but
sure
Aarti,
that we
Aarti,
capitalize
I would
about
like
this.
to say something on this, Aarti ji. When Jaya ji said something in the Sansad, why she did not take up the name of SSR and say that it was very sad for the film industry that we had to lose one great artist, and we wish there is nothing like this in Bollywood, and जो कर रहे हैं उनको देखना चाहिए, and we should get this stopped in Bollywood if something like this is happening. She did not mention, and she knows very well this all is happening only because of the SSR case, but not once did she mention about that कि ये हमारा लड़का था, he was in Bollywood, he was taken away like this, and ये जो आपने बोला लीना जी के जिस थाली में खाते उसी को छेद करते हैं. If a senior actor says that, she is directly targeting the other Bollywood actors, and we know who she's targeting, who is supporting SSR, like Kangana Ranawat and all those people who have been loud and clear. She is definitely telling them कि तुम जिस थाली में खाते हो उसको छेद करते हो, because they are opening up the doors or opening the can of worms, showing what Bollywood is doing. And again, I agree कि सब नहीं करते हैं, not everyone does it. There are so many like Manoj Bajpayee ji, Nasruddin ji, they're such great actors, but somewhere something is there. So she should have at least said कि जहाँ भी हो रहा है, we should look after it.
No, I also, can I just add, Rupal and Aarti, because you are with the industry for a much longer time than any of us. There was this story about an actress from South India who committed suicide apparently because she complained against molestation and whatever casting couch thing which happened in South. And she kept harping, and I think she ended her life. That's what I remember from the news some years back. Nobody spoke about that ever.
yeah,
It goes under the
Why?
carpet.
हाँ,
Yeah,
नहीं
because she was
बोलते.
not a big star. She was not a big
Absolutely.
star.
yeah,
She was somebody who could have been. She was exploited. She was, maybe whatever the reasons might have been, but nobody wanted to hear her out, and that's about it.
Same with Jia
So
Khan. Her suicide note has
yeah,
given names: Suraj Pancholi,
yeah,
till now.
Yeah. Nothing happened after that.
Nothing happened against Suraj Panchali. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The
No,
mob
but
was fighting, but no one supported Jia Khan. Where were the feminists then?
Yeah. Only the mother was fighting for her,
yes,
nobody
yes.
else. Yeah.
So look,
Uh,
there are a lot of issues there,
That
but
would be valid for any. I mean, I'm not supporting or anything, but I'm just trying to say it's just not the film industry. I'm going back to Gaurav's point. Something like this would happen in
Yeah,
a big
sure, sure.
big industrial family.
Yeah.
That boy will be well protected.
yeah.
You know.
So, yeah, very right. So, for example, if tomorrow in a big industrial family like the Tatas, Birlas, Ambanis, if something like that happened, you think it will come in the news? No, they will just bury it down. It will won't even you won't even hear 5% of what the noise you're hearing now. So, actually, what Jaya Bachchan said, I agree with Rupal that it would have been better if Jaya
If she
would
had
have give at least a word of condolence on
Statement, yeah.
what Sushant
Yeah.
happened.
not Jaya
Totally
Bachchan, many other Bollywood artists
and
too.
others as well. But the
Yeah.
no, because I'm just answering to your point on what Jaya Bachchan said and what she
Hmm.
meant
Yeah.
is exactly that you cannot paint the entire industry with one picture. You cannot say that everyone is like that. And the very people who have actually said is they have also risen through the ranks. There have been so many outsiders who have been successful in Bollywood itself. Take Shah Rukh Khan, for example. He doesn't belong to the industry, and he's the king of Bollywood today. So, and there's so many examples like that. We have Manoj
Akshay Kumar.
Bajpayee, Akshay Kumar, even Govinda. Govinda was not born in the industry. So there are so many of them. That's why I think that is what she was trying to say, that and which is correct. You can't paint the whole industry. And I think I support the point what Aarti is saying, that she being a senior person of the film fraternity, I think she took upon herself to avoid this negative backlash, because that affects the whole industry. And actually, what we should discuss more is about how to avoid these things. And the biggest factor, I think, is that the structure of the film industry, some years back, they had started corporatization of the film sector. And the way the films are financed, the way the films are conducted, if we have a Hollywood studio structure in the Indian film sector, I think a lot of these vagaries and these problems will go away. And I
Who
think
gonna bring that, Gaurav?
sorry.
Who gonna bring that structure to
No,
Bollywood?
that
No, it's
that
already in.
it is happening.
It's quite corporatized right now. A lot
Yeah.
of the film financing in the Indian film industry is quite well in place. They're following. There's the proper rules and regulations, and everything is quite much better than what it was before.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, and it is better, and there is scope to make it even better. So as soon as you have that well-established structure, like a corporate structure, and I think that has very well been done in the Indian television industry. The Indian television sector has been very well established with proper corporate structure. Even when I used to work in 2000, 2005, it was very well done, and the film industry has taken a leaf out of that. And I think Aarti would know better what's happening there today. But I think they are going in the right direction. And I think that will really help to avoid these kind of casting couch scenarios and, the lobby grouping and all
So
that.
you don't
Do
think that
agree
Bollywood
that
become a Bollywood? You don't. So you don't think
I
that?
do agree that we are over here today debating on this topic, talking about the insider and outsider, making people aware. People didn't even know the word, what the word of the meaning of the word nepotism till
Yeah.
actually. So it's good that people are talking about it, just like the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
So when the Me Too movement happened, people became aware. People, people became cautious. Nobody would actually make a move the way they would earlier.
Yeah.
So these things are good that we're debating, we're talking about it, making people aware, so that people more outsiders get that fair chance that they deserve.
Right.
So I would say that there is some good cause to
I
this debate.
I just want to add one thing here, is that the whole premise of our upbringing is not accepting problems.
Yeah.
We stay in a denial stage for forever, like we say in our line of work also कि अगर कोई if somebody is मानसिक रूप से बीमार है तो उसकी शादी कर दो. शादी is the solution for all problems. अगर वैसे नहीं हो रहा तो है ना, एक बच्चा कर लो तो ठीक हो जाएगा, कोई बात नहीं.
मनीष जी, आपसे एक क्वेश्चन है. Has Bollywood become a Bollywood?
Sorry, what has Bollywood become a?
Bollywood. बुली करते हैं लोगों को वो बहुत ज्यादा.
हर जगह बुली होता है, कहाँ नहीं बुली होता है. स्टैंड अप में भी बुली होता है, कहाँ बुली नहीं होता है. हमारे घरों में बुली होता है. अगर तुम 3-4 भाई बहन हो and you are of a darker skin, तो you are bullied by your other own
True.
blood, who would be probably of the fairer skin. Like we were talking, I was doing this set and I was saying that, you know, hashtag all Black Lives Matter in India. It doesn't matter because half of us are called Kallu only. Because सबका रंग ही ऐसा ही है घरों में. So it's there. So it will always remain there. The point is, like Aarti rightly brought out, I think, is that if debate like this can help anybody understand the pros and cons of the industry and help them, even one person, take a decision in their life which will be in the right direction, I think we would have, you know, served the purpose of being here today.
And
Right.
also I think taking the right right lessons out of this whole episode, which Sushant Singh also should be highlight on the fact of mental health, and everyone should be aware it can happen to men, it can happen to rich
Yeah.
people, it can happen to famous people.
Anybody.
So any of these trappings which we feel that, you know, if you are rich and famous and successful, we won't fall prey to mental illness. I think that is a misnomer, and this is a screaming case of that. And I hope that all the socialized would have been discussing more about mental health than just about who, you know, what happened.
Yeah.
You know, let's see where do that job. But the more important is how we deal with things as a society, and do we really reach out to our near and dear if they are down, you know, down and out. I think that's very important.
Can I say something? As just Gaurav ji ne kaha, it's very important for mental health. And coming back to the same scenario that was expected of Bollywood as a family to come together. The SSR case has gone this far only because of the local public and Janta of India who screamed and shouted, and Arnab, then they started doing all these investigations. Instead, it should have been the other way around. The Bollywood stars, or maybe those who are not from the Bollywood family but are in the film industry, they should have taken out big stands or candle lights or things that we want justice. Only with the help of local people did this come so far. So that's what, again, talking about what Gaurav ji said, Bollywood in its family, if they would have taken care of their own child, SSR, even after he left the world, if they would have come together and said that we want to know what happened to him, or is there anyone else who's alone and who's struggling and we are here, you know.
Yeah.
So because I say Bollywood and cricket are inspirations, people look up to them, they learn from them, and if they don't set a good example, of course it's their responsibility. They have a big responsibility, it's on their shoulders, and if you are in that industry, it's your it's you have to do it, because
Yeah.
we look up to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Well, this is an ongoing issue, and we have to stand strong to clean the Bollywood. Few people will not agree to this, but many of us still think that Bollywood needs to be cleaned, and we have to stop Bollywood to become a Bollywood. So, in the end, I would say roses are red and violets are blue. Let's fight for the right me and you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.